back with our SalesMade SmarterGrowth podcast, typically coming to you every Tuesday as a sundowner, where we can end the day together talking about the most important things you have to deal with when you try to grow your company.
Exactly. So today it's a Thursday sun opener, huh? As it looks, Max. No, almost a sundowner because it's, as you guys know, it's winter, so getting dark quickly. Yeah. So today we talk about the fourth commandment for sales success out of our special series of the 10 commandments. Today, number 4. And what it is that about, Max? I think we will touch all the other episodes before a little bit, because we talked about that topic that we talked today before. And as you see, I think today what becomes very obvious is also that all these things are very closely connected to each other. So becoming good at one thing sometimes automatically means that you're becoming good at something else. And that's why I start today with mentioning, from our first episode, we talked about the importance of the why. And so what we do today is to give you first why it's actually important what we talk about today. And what we're going to talk about today is, next,
we will talk about knowing your customer better than they know themselves. And that is all about that day in the diary. That we can write for them better than they could actually do it themselves. And this is interesting. Like you said, we talked about it in the other episodes, what makes this so important and so forth. And I came across this quote here in Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power event. He said, as a teaser for some business mastery program, he said, the first thing he does when he comes into a new business is he looks for that ideal customer. Who's that ideal customer? So it's not only us tech guys and growth hackers and whatnot talking about avatars. It also applies to any sort of classical business. So this is really a discipline that is important. And Patrick, shoot us some motivation, some detail about what makes this so important.
Yeah, so what we talk about is not only knowing your ideal customer, but know the business of your ideal customer even better than they themselves know their businesses. Because we actually do have some advantages. But first, why is that important? I think for me, we talked about this trust, right? Trust as the one variable that impacts the sales, like the size or the longevity of the sales cycle the most. So the longer, the less able you are at building trust, the longer it takes to sell something. And that's always gonna be your most important factor, building trust. And what is the easiest way with your prospects to build that trust? Right, to know exactly what they talk about, even at some point helping them to learn stuff they haven't known. Because your advantage is that you have not only seen their environment, how they work. They know they work better than you, that's for sure. They are experts in what they do, but they don't know necessarily how other companies are doing it exactly. And that's one advantage that you're going to have. And you may, at some point, if you use the house that we are going to talk about after, if you do that, then you can certainly do that, build trust immediately with your customers and sell something really, really quickly. I mean, that's the absolute main point for me in this. And it's also connected, to make these connections, it's also connected to the topic we talked about last time, nailing the niche. Find your niche and really work with a niche first. The advantage that comes with working in a niche, an additional advantage is this, that you can actually learn something about a very specific customer base. So if you have a niche, a real niche, and you only talk to, let's say, tech people, technology people in utilities or in wherever in consumer goods. If you only talk about those people who work in the laboratories from a certain specific industry, you learn much more. You learn faster what their business is about. But if you talk to CIOs, if you talk to CEOs, if you talk to CTOs, if you talk to whoever else, you're never going to learn one of those people's businesses. It's really hard. I've been through this. That's a big disadvantage when it comes to being able to have a consultative sales approach with your customers and to build trust, because that's key. So that is why our fourth commandment is about becoming a good student of your customer. Maybe Max, you have something to add to this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the interesting piece is that actually, from my perspective, is that this discussion has been going on for a while now, right? I mean, some people are talking about the avatar, some people are talking about the ideal customer, some people call it the persona, target group. And important for us is to not only have a stationary understanding about who that girl or guy is and their demographics and so forth, but also to decode where they are going, so you can have a more meaningful conversation, right? I mean, you could say like a healthy nutrition or the new protein shake or whatever is for people who are 24 years old and so forth and so forth. You could do and then more demographics, right? But the alternative way is to say like, hey, Spartans. I mean, Reebok is doing a great job here. Like, they are addressing people who want to get fit, and you could address people who want to get in shape, right? You could say like, hey, to all fresh made moms out there, you want to fit in your favorite jeans. We totally understand. By the way, the job you moms are doing for this society is widely underrated, and you have a damn right to wear your favorite jeans, right? You have a damn right to feel good, and we have a little helper here, and then you can pull in your protein shake, and it becomes part of the story. But you will also have to understand that it's not only the shake, it's also the exercise and so forth, right?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think for now we understood the why. Maybe another example I can give you an example how you can become better from my current experience. So we are talking to legal and regulatory people who try to find out from the laws what do they have to do within their companies. And there's like how the process is how they do these processes, how they go from detecting new laws, for instance, and then change internal regulations. As an example, that's how they do it. I don't really understand. I don't know their expertise, right? I'm not a legal guy. I don't get how you could or what's the meaning of a law text might be, and then what does that mean for our business. But I know because I talk to almost 200 prospects right now and several customers. I know what's the most efficient process from detecting a new law, a changed law, to how that is impacting a business, how that process should look. That's where your expertise may lie, and not your customers, because your customers sometimes they have been doing stuff for years, for like sometimes for tens of years, for decades, and sometimes for a smaller time frame. But they have been doing things for years, and as you know, people are like, it works like that. I've been doing it this way ever since, and it works for me. Yes, it works, but if there's a better way to do it, you should probably be listening. Otherwise, in the fast market today, you're not going to be around any longer. So people are willing to learn stuff or to learn from the outside, and that's where your expertise, that's a specific example where your expertise can fit in, and how actually I these days am using that process expertise. So I have process expertise, and the people have like subject matter expertise in their specific parts. You don't have to become an expert in that, but maybe you can become a process expertise or apply it just for your business, that example. So that's how I see it, or just a short example that you understand what we talk about today. And now let's get into how you can actually, what do you have to do to become an expert, a process expert, or an expert in your customer's field as soon as possible. Max, what do you think? What's the most important measurements?
Yeah, so I totally agree that, and that's what we want to focus on. We don't want to reiterate, like all these things you got to understand when trying to build your persona and so forth. If you guys in front of the screen, if you feel like ill-equipped or you feel you're missing something, shoot us a line. We can always do an episode on that again, right? Like, what are the information pieces you got to find and how to use that and so forth. Today, we want to look into how exactly can you read your customers' minds? How exactly can you find out what they are discussing, what keeps them awake at night, how they think, and so forth. And we've discovered 5 strategies we want to share with you, and we have a tip for you, which one actually works best. And so Patrick, let's dive in. What are your thoughts on the 5 steps? And
So
how
the
do
first
you
one,
exactly do that, right? That mind reading thing.
yeah. So let's get to the first one, right? That's surround yourself with them. Which means, what does that mean? I mean, it means your target group, they meet in groups, they go on events, they are in associations, for instance, and we urge you to join those as well. Like, become one of them, join their tribe. Associations is something that you can join and learn about them and go to the meetings. Circles, like general circles of expertise, communities. On LinkedIn, for instance, you probably find a community for almost all the expertise fields. And yeah, like things like that. Try to find those expert groups, circles, and join them and become part of it. I think that's one way you can learn more about their business.
Yeah, and that's really what works best, actually. I mean, if you want to understand somebody really deeply, the best idea is to become one of them, right? And you, Patrick, if you're working with startups in the financial services field, or in your special case, you have the startups for all the legal information, and you try to understand your customers better, the best idea is to become Nike, right? to fight the legal battles until you understand what it's really worth to have the information before stuff happens, right? Like that old saying, having the map before entering the woods. It's just damn hard and time consuming to become Nike, right? It's really hard. And once you become Nike, who knows if you will ever go back to your sales job at Larry, right? So if you became, why not stay there, right? So that is in terms of the closest thing that comes right after becoming one of them is surrounding yourself with them, right? Join their tribe, join their association, find the community, find their circle, find the discussions, go on there and bring value. If you just stay at their party and go like, hey, I'm getting myself another drink, would you want one, or something like that, right? You can become part of the tribe without exactly being one of them, but it will help you understand them much better. And that's actually, it's a viable option. It's not easy. It requires a few things. You got to be a certain type of person. You got to be outgoing, right? For instance. So we also thought about, what if you want to keep hiding, right? You want to keep hiding behind your laptop in the basement. What are the options? And we also have a few options there, which we think you will find pretty exciting. And the most prominent one is exactly this one here. And Patrick, give us some thoughts on guessing. What's the value of guessing in this game?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think everybody who has heard it knows about it, right? Guessing what we do. What did we do the first 2 years in our sales careers? We went to the customer, right? We show the demo, or we tell them about our product, and we tell them the needs, not the needs. We tell them what value and benefit our product has. But what comes with that? I mean, what do we do when we tell a customer what benefit he or she has from our product? We guess their situation, right? We guess how their situation looks, what their challenge is. And based on that guess, we say, that's the benefit for you for your product. But it's actually stupid, right? You can't tell anyone before you even know their situation or know their challenge, what the benefit of your product to them is. I mean, okay, there might be situations where really easy and very, very standard situations where it might be possible, but in 90% of the cases, that's not possible. And that's what we all, and most of the salespeople do. They guess the situation. They think, yeah, I guess that's your situation and that's the benefit. And so, yeah, guessing is, I think, what most people do today, right? To become a student. It's not actually becoming a student, but it's what most people do, I'd say. And
I mean, how effective is it, right? How effective is that?
What do you think you learn when you guess stuff? How effective is that? How much do you learn about your prospects when you never ask? When you go there and say that's your benefit, what do you learn?
Yeah, so we're talking about alternatives, right? I mean, guessing, actually, I totally agree. Guessing is not an option. It's dangerous. You will always think that you are right. That's just the way we are constructed, right? I mean, and typically, even if you're just a few millimeters wrong, it's like in golf, right? I mean, you hit and you have this 1 or 2 degrees wrong, and you're just off the track, right? You're just lost. So, and you can spare yourself a lot of the hardships and the disappointments and so forth by just don't even start to indoctrinate yourself that every customer needs this and every customer needs a better, I don't know what it is, infrastructure, network, software, process. The only thing that's really relevant is, do they know what and exactly what do they know about themselves needing anything? So do they see symptoms? Do they have challenges? And so forth. And I mean, we talked about this value creation story as well, which is very important. People do not buy the product, no matter how much we believe they need it, right? And there's this good saying that people buy when they feel understood. They don't buy when you explain all your crap in a more brilliant fashion. They buy when they feel understood. And so we're staying behind our laptops, and we don't want to talk to customers. Here's another option we can use. And we talked about this earlier, Patrick, the Halo strategy. What does that mean? Sounds interesting.
Good question. Yeah, Max, what does it mean? What exactly does that mean? I just know the other Halo strategy. No, yeah.
You know, the one for the computer game. The Master Chief. Yeah, Halo is an invention by Sabri Subi and the King Kong people. They have done a brilliant collection of everything that has been said before on the part of sales and doing value discovery with customers and everything. And they propose that you look at reflections your customers leave on the internet. And from those reflections, you can reassemble a pretty specific image of who you are talking to, who are you trying to convince. And here's how to do that. the simple idea is actually that you jump, for instance, you jump on your favorite search engine, right? And then you just Google for for your main challenge, right? So the main challenge you think your customers have. In my case, when we do like growth strategies with founders, I would assume that founders are looking for more leads, right? So I could Google for ways to find leads and so forth. And that will take me, including all the additions that Google proposes, that will take me into forums, that will take me onto blogs and so forth. So that's where I spend some time and I collect. What are some challenges people are talking about? What are some desired, like desired states they want to be in, instead of that frustrating now that they are experiencing? What is that bright future they're trying to achieve, right? Where are they trying to go? And I'm trying to get as much detail around that as I can. And so you'll be looking at what are they thinking about? What is triggering them? What are they comparing their options to, right? Is it better to do, for instance, are they talking about, is it better to do Facebook advertising, or is it better to do Google advertising? And they're completely missing an alternative, for instance. Then you got to understand that, because that's where you get into the conversation. That's where you can enter their mind and get their attention, right?
Yeah.
So then what's holding them back? Sometimes people know what they have to do, or they know the options, and maybe it's even 2 options, but they are staying in their heads and they're discussing like which would be the better one instead of doing both. Right? So sometimes that's you want to just give them the permission to get going. So, and what are those decisions they make typically? How do they articulate those decisions? And what are they ultimately trying to get? You can find a lot of that stuff really, really, really in forums. And then what you should do is you can have a look at their websites. You can have a look at their press releases to find out about, like typical representatives of that customer group you're trying to understand. What are they bothered with? What are they dealing with, right? And then last but not least, you can look at your competitors' websites, because they probably have done the same job. And they have found a line of argumentation that you could reuse, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I have to say, I also just learned something from you, Max, once again, because I think I have done that not enough either, like to Google and Google and search for the challenges and stuff like that. It's actually the most obvious and simple thing. No, I mean, just put that into Google. We know how to use Google, and yeah, but it's great. It's great. So look out for just go to Quora groups. I mean, answer the public. Whatever. Try there to put some questions in. Look for answers. You will also meet people. You may be able to chat with one of these experts that give you answers, or that you found your answers from. So yeah, just try that out. Put it out there. Go out and ask your questions. Be curious. I think being curious is probably the absolute key here, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yes, absolutely.
So
then we have option 4.
Yeah. So Ryan Levesque's ask method, Max.
Ryan Levesque. Right. Yeah.
Can you first line a little bit out? What's the ask method about?
Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into it, because it's certainly very advanced material. I would say the idea is brilliant. The idea is you see, like they are trying to take the building out underway here, right under me. What's your understanding of the idea, Patrick?
Well, I have read the book too long ago, I'd say. So for me, the ask method, for me, it's 3 things that I usually or that we usually try to find out, or that we usually ask. And you can do that by talking to people. You can do online service. You could actually, do online service. You can, even before, for instance, before people book a call from your website, you can also put a survey in front and say, first ask or answer a few of these questions, right? So then you know, when you get on the call, you already know maybe what to talk about. That's maybe also already a little bit deep, but these things you can do. And yeah, so the method I use is simple: situation, problem, and implication. That's my ask method, but it's not the one I guess you wanted to talk about, Max.
I think it fits well, and Ryan spends a lot of time thinking about how can you scale the idea of understanding by asking questions, right? And this is nothing new. This is in our work with big old Mike, right? Michael Simon. We always come to that point where we find out that it's actually Socrates who has coined the term that you can lead through questioning, right? You can lead by asking. And Ryan is looking how can you scale that, right? How can you do it with a lot of people at the same time, and not only get all those valuable pieces of information from them, but also generate leads in the process, right? Online, do all of that online. That's what he's looking at, and he has developed a methodology that will allow you to do exactly that, to analyze the data and so forth. Now, having said that, this is very complex, and this is not something we would recommend you to start with. And don't understand this as a challenge, please, right? So even if you are very ambitious and sporty and so forth, and we tell you it's complex, that doesn't mean you have to start, right? Just to prove us wrong or just to prove you can. It works. It's brilliant. Do it later. Okay? Because, and that's something that motivates us here to give you all these experiences and insights as far as we have them, is there's only one real enemy of execution. The only thing that will stop you from getting going is complexity. So don't go to that party before you do our step number 5, and that option number 5. And that is, Patrick, you mentioned that already. This is so powerful. And we have this 3x3 method, right? So just imagine you have the right questions ready that will really help you dig deeper and understand that customer. And then what you want to do is you want to talk to 3 customers and find out what had them made the decision to go with your service or product. What really made them move? Not the thing you think that made them move, right? But their real reasons, and in their terms, on you like the way they articulate that. That's very important. Then you talk to 3 customers who said no. Like, then they're not customers, but 3 ex-prospects who told you, no, I'm not buying your stuff. And try to find out why not. What did they expect? What didn't they see? What were some other products they went with, or services or offers? Did they get the results, and so forth? And then you talk to 3 complete strangers who have never heard of you before, who have not made a decision, and you do some research with them. So like, just assume if we wanted to become the most impactful player.
Yeah, so if you want to become the most impactful salesperson who ever started at a new company, that's your way to go. Yeah, that's the way to go. Just interview first. Like, the first thing you do when you start at a new company, interview 3 customers, 3 people who said no, and talk to 3 strangers or potential prospects. If you do that immediately from the start, you know how good the product is. You know, you learn already stuff about your potential buyers, and that's the first thing. I mean, talk, and talking is, I guess, the most important. What we mean by talking, Max, welcome back. What do we mean by talking? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I dropped here. The line was shaky.
I continued. So we went through it again, and now you mentioned talking, right? You said talk to 3 customers, talk to 3 ideal prospects.
Exactly, yes.
But what do you mean by talking?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because talking you could easily be understood as us explaining stuff, us sharing stuff, us having us using the room to express ourselves, and that's exactly not what we're talking about. We are thinking about this process as an interview, right? I mean, the caption here says it on the video. You can read it. And a good interview is a set of good, great questions, and also knowing and understanding how to deal with the answer, right? And how are you doing that?
Yeah, the first thing I do, or in the first meeting with anyone, I have my script prepared. I have my questions prepared that I want to ask. That the answers are going to be important for me to be able to evaluate whether the customer is actually a potential customer for us or not. So very strict script. I think there is a few questions you need to ask. I talked about it before, like situation, problem, implication, besides all the other stuff, decision process, and so on. But in sales specifically, first learn how the person or the customer or the prospect is doing the things right now.
Yeah.
Then learn what the person thinks in that process is a challenge for them in general, in the specific area you are providing something. Then learn what is the impact of the challenge, or no, first before I learn or I ask people what their perfect solution would look like. If they can build a solution to solve their problem, how would that look like? And the last question, or the last important question, is, if you had that perfect solution, what would that mean to you? And then people tell you that they would save a lot of time, that they would save money, that they would lower the risk, and so on, all the things, if they had this perfect solution, which gives you a very good estimate of whether people want to buy, or can or are actually able to buy. And dig a bit deeper. The deeper you dig there, the better, right? If you can find and quantify some exact problem, like how much time did you save, how would you, what number would you put to the risk, and so on. Okay, great. I mean, you can determine the price afterwards. You don't have to have a standard price. You can say, okay, it's fair now that from the gains you have, we share, and the price is this. You will feel much more comfortable to communicate the price. Anyway, that's a long story short. Talking means asking the right questions to anyone, to learn really their situation. And if you do that with 200 people in a year, what do you think you can learn about your prospects and how they do things? It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a few benefits to this. Like, I mean, we're engaging with real people, and the more you feel uncertain about that, the more you experience fear with the idea to interview your customers, right? Because you don't know what they could tell you. Understand this: we have not worked with a single technology company that has not gained super interesting insights, and especially with customers where they thought like, boy, they're gonna be bad at us, right? They really will, they will hurt us or whatever. it never turns out to be that bad. Especially the customers where you think the relationship is damaged, appreciate these conversations the most. And you can learn so much. One of my customers, actually a huge tech success, they looked at me and said, like, I don't understand how we could have done marketing the last 15 years without having these conversations. They were so surprised at about all the things that they found out by just listening. So, and if you do that, really, I mean, we're talking about 3 by 3, right? Talk to 3 existing customers, talk to 3 customers who didn't buy your stuff, like prospects who didn't buy, ex-prospects who didn't buy, or future prospects maybe. Talk to 3 strangers. What will happen is you will also find new opportunities. And this is another benefit. You can start this today. You don't have to build that fancy landing page. You don't have to find your growth strategy. You don't have to find the social media manager. You don't have to find the salespeople even. You can start doing this today. It's not complex. It requires some discipline. It requires some, like a little force, maybe, right? So, but we really urge you to start there. Start there. And if you want to, you can shoot us a comment here. If you comment with template under this video, we will get in touch with you and explain our original template to you guys. The exact thing that we are using to get all of those insights, the exact thing that we are using to interview customers, and it's also the exact thing that we are using to jot down all the information and make it reusable, right?
Fully agree. So yeah, I mean, we mentioned 5 options today, Max, and one of these options is not such a good option, right?
Guessing.
Which one that was?
Option number 2, guessing. Never do that. Never do that.
Do a quiz, but okay. I think it would have been too easy anyway.
Yeah.
So option number 2, you don't want to go with option number 2 ever. Never. Actually, never. Right? Never you want to go with this. At least talk to some people before you guess something about a certain situation. And all the others, as Mark said, I think that's great final words. Just you have to go out and do it. And it's not so tough. It's not so hard. It's pretty easy.
Yes. So this is episode number 4 of 10. And we hope that you find this valuable. Shoot us a comment. If you like this video, leave us a like. If you want to get more of this, follow our channel here or the Facebook page, wherever you're watching. And so don't forget that after the 10 episodes, you can get the official team shirt, the official SalesMade team shirt. It's something you cannot buy. We will never put it up on merchandise. It's something you earn by becoming part of our tribe. And we do have some homework for you guys too, because we actually care that you get this stuff to work for you. And here are some questions, and you can shoot us the answer and we will give you more insight and feedback if you want to. And here are the 2 questions. What are your key learnings from this episode, if some? And what do they know? What do they mean for your professional life? And then you can also feel free to shoot us a comment down below here about what else would you like to understand better? What else are some challenges in your day-to-day marketing, product management, customer retention, customer service, and or sales scenario, anything related to growth? What are some challenges? What are some topics you would like to understand more about in terms of what are we doing in the real world to deal with those things?
Yeah.
Right? And we're more than happy to share. Mr. Patrick Trumpy, growth hacker at Larry, sexiest man alive. Thanks again for sharing all those valuable insights. Thanks again for showing up disciplined every Tuesday or Tuesday-ish.
Yeah. Or Tuesday-ish day. I like. And Max, Marcus Eilers, thank you for the great organization for knowing all the tools and stuff to do these kind of things in a very, very nice way. Thanks for your incredible, valuable knowledge that you have out of 1,000 books that you've read, but especially out of your vast experience the past 30 years. It's always a pleasure. I've also learned stuff today. That's why I think these discussions are especially valuable. You know, you learn something yourself, then that's the way to go.
Yeah, and it's easy actually. I mean, there's so much resources out there where you can learn and orient. I'm super thankful. We should actually do the next series after the 10 commandments. We can go into the 10 most relevant pieces of literature in the field, for instance. And thanks to our mentors.
Yes.
Big Mike, Michael Simon is one of them. If you ever need a great conversational training, hop over to the Simon Executive Consultant guys and get one. And we a lot of other guys. We will do an episode. I think like who are our personal influencers? We should do that.
I think the personal influencers and the books. That's an amazing idea. Actually.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. So with gratitude and love from Stuttgart and Zurich, take care, everybody. Good hunting.
Take care.
Be safe. Take care. Talk soon.